Okay, we are recording. Um, so yeah, I am breaking up, and I mentioned this before, Buttercup's Baby into separate sections. Just it does kind of have points where it can be divided easily. So I'm gonna do that. But this first one is like 2-3 pages long. Actually, even less. Because so much, like half a page of it is just an aside. Oh no, I guess it's 1, 2, 3, 4.5 pages. Um, in theory, I shouldn't be making this comment until I actually read through the chapter. But I'm still gonna make it. I don't like this opening, um, especially for what it is suggesting is next. Um, you know what? I'll actually look. I'll even here. Okay. Yes, I don't like this. So Buttercup's baby. Obviously, it's going to involve Buttercup's baby, whose name is Waverly, by the way. Fezzik is serving, and I've determined this from the introductions basically saying it. Not this most recent introduction, but even I think the 30th introduction. It's like Inigo has gone off, done his thing. Wesley and Buttercup are together, though what they're doing at the moment, I don't know. Fezzik is the guardian of Waverly. And I don't say that as in like the whole like responsible for raising her. No, but he protects her. He is her protector. And somehow this new villain has stolen the baby, so Fezzik is running after him. This villain is described as having a face that is skinless and magic. And is running up a mountain. And this is one thing that I do have an issue with right away, is that the description of the mountain is not there. Like, I don't actually understand what's being described here. I mean, are they going up a mountain that... Because Fezzik is having difficulty, but it says, like, at 15... It's 15,000 feet high. It's like, okay, that's high enough that he might be having trouble breathing and such. It's like, okay, that can make some sense. No, that's not what's being described here. It's that he's, like, struggling to find places to put his feet. And it's like, okay, how steep are we talking? The reason why I have this problem is it was a major point in The Princess Bride that his arms are incredibly powerful. They are his pride. The way described at one point is if you gave him an axe and told him to chop down a forest, the axe would break and his legs would give out before his arms would. That's how powerful his arms are. He can do that and then the next day go right back to it. His arms perfectly fine. But it takes him... The villain knocks off some rocks to run down and strike Fezzik's leg, so he now falls and has to grab by his fingers and even says, like, oh, he's barely grabbing. It's like, those should also be very strong for him. But then he finally realizes, oh, if I just start climbing with my arms, that then I can go really fast. It's like, Fezzik shouldn't be that stupid. Not when it comes to his arms. And how steep are we talking about a mountain here? Because it's not unreasonable that if it is a steep mountain, he's already been using his arms. He would have figured this out a while ago. I understand the need to produce tension. I do. But the tension needs to be realistic, and I don't feel like this is a realistic situation. Partly because I have no idea what this mountain is. You're not... I mean, the cliffs up in Sandy, okay. It's a vertical cliff face. I now know what's going on here. But this is just the mountainside. It's like, okay, mountains have all different kinds of sides to them. And if you're really struggling for it, I'm imagining something vertical, but then he's using his arms. So it must not be that much. So then it's just, okay, it's an easier angle. It might just be rocky, but it still is. Then describe how he's struggling because every time he puts a foot down, he's such a giant. He's just kicking the foothold out from underneath him. It still lets him go up, but he's much slower than the lighter villain. Describe it that way. So now I understand what is going on here. What is the geography here? What is the topology? I'm understanding that now. Instead, I got no clue. I'm just confused by why he is struggling beyond just, well, we need him to struggle. And to be fair, some of this, I just read the introduction, which, if you look at that video, I did not care for, so I'm already primed to not be happy. But So now because he's using his arms, he's able to go very fast. Fast enough that he's actually going to outrace the villain. Which the villain, even Fezzik figured out, the villain's plan is just he's running up the mountain because he knows he can and Fezzik will be slow. And then he can be, by the time he's running down, Fezzik will still be running, trying to get up. And then once he's down the other side of the mountain, Fezzik won't be able to see him. He's escaped. But now it's Fezzik is, with his arms able to go so fast, he gets to the top, runs along the plateau, and actually gets ahead of him. Ahead of the villain. It's like, wait a minute. The villain is basically, I'm assuming, running straight up. Fezzik was chasing after. You're now saying that he is going to outrun him up the mountain. It's like, okay, but do so without being seen. And then run around. It's, what the hell's the geography here? I don't understand this. I really don't. So I'm just confused. So he manages to get there and basically tells the guy, you can hand me the kid. And the dude's like, I'll breathe fire at you. And even describes he doesn't have a mouth and no, the sound is just coming from his face, his skinless face. Okay. And Fezzik is like, don't care. I can shapeshift. Don't care. I'll use all my magic on you. Don't care. You're giving me the child. And yes, you are going to be in pain. Like, I'm going to cause you great pain. It's like, okay, that's fine. That's Fezzik. I mean, he it makes sense. He is a protector by nature, and like that's part of the reason why he hates being alone. He needs somebody to protect. I can understand that being given to. You didn't really have that clearly in The Princess Bride, but it is. You can infer it well enough that to just make it a this is your charge. Waverly is your charge. Full on protector. That will give him great satisfaction in life. It's like, I'm totally good with that. So it's like, yeah, you can do whatever the hell you want to me. I'm protecting the child, though. And then the villain, who had Waverly wrapped up in a blanket, is starting to hand over and then just like tosses it off the side of the mountain. And again, the geography of the mountain. What is the geography? Because it describes, it's the baby's going to fall down the side of the mountain. It's like, okay, is this a cliff face? Is it at an angle? What? Because Fezzik naturally dies. And the title for Chapter 1, by the way, is Fezzik Dies. Technically not there yet. And I think one thing that I had seen in one of the introductions was basically suggesting that, well, maybe he is rescued. But it's also like, I mean, what kind of angle are we talking about the mountain? Because potentially Waverly is only going to fall like 10 feet, which might not actually hurt the child. I mean, it's possible. It may then roll, which is a problem, but it's also, if it's only like a fall of 10 feet, Fezzik diving might land on top of her. Whereas if it is a cliff face, then it's like, okay, potentially you have time in the 15,000 feet or so, like that would be the maximum, that he could catch up. How, I'm not sure, because I would think the baby would have to fall faster because there should be more air friction on Fezzik than on the baby, but in any case, it's like, I don't see how his leap could do anything to help at this point. Because I have no sense of this mountain. It's also entirely possible the baby will fall, maybe bounce a little bit, maybe roll a little bit, but could then just roll against a rock and be fine. There are babies that fall and are perfectly fine. There are also babies that fall and are not fine. Don't experiment with this. But it's like, and there is actually a story in my family, not from me, one of my siblings, not going to talk about it, but did fall a story and was perfectly fine. So yeah, and he, to my knowledge, that sibling wasn't like wrapped in anything. Wrapped in a blanket might have a better shot. So it's like, I don't have a true sense of danger here because I don't know what this fall entails. And again, as I said, Fezzik's response might not make sense either. And yeah, so it's just I don't know. I'm not caring for this. It does, and then the aside is like, yeah, Morgenstern really wanted to get you straight into the action. It's like there are so many questions that I would have, that I do have from the ending of The Princess Bride, that actually unless it's you're doing this and then immediately we're getting a flashback to catch us up. I don't like this. And I know that's not what comes next. The next portion is Inigo. Inigo is in despair, and as I skimmed a little bit forward, that's an actual location. I don't give a shit about Inigo right now. Okay, what you've just set up, I don't care. He could be dead. He could be the Dread Pirate Roberts and is off on the other side of the planet. I don't care. Tell me about Wesley and Buttercup. Tell me about their relationship. Obviously, are they married? Are they not? Because is it no, you aren't actually married to Humperdinck? What's up with Humperdinck? How is he involved in this at all? Any of that. Give me something. Okay? How about even just the baby's name is Waverly? Okay, where did that name come from? That's actually perfectly reasonable. Start telling me the story of why, when they had a daughter, decided to name her Waverly. Okay? Give me that story right now. But instead, no, we're talking about Inigo, who... What, does he connect with what I've just been told? No. Now, as I continue reading, maybe I will be told that. That's fine. That's fine. But it still is... I want the story continued. This isn't a continued. This is a, hey, here's something new. Great. You're telling me a new story. I still need that connection. Okay, I still need that connection. It's like, right now, I've only written one sequel to any of my stories. The Children of Many Gifts is a sequel to Failure. And it actually features, right off the bat, new character. But it still is. I try to. Just assume I'm always referring to try to, because no one's read it to tell me if I did a good job or not. But I try to establish a new character there. And I don't think it's even that long before I also establish it. Yeah, it's like a few years later. A few years after the events of Failure. But it's a new character, so I don't need all the backstory stuff yet, because we're just following her. We're following Constance, and we can see how it goes, see what ends up happening. So I have that freedom there. But even if it were and there is one time that I did try writing a sequel, never finished it, for a different book that is published, and it's the first one. I want to rewrite that, set that so we don't need to pay too much attention there, but it still is. What is in that first book, main character is in college. How did I start the second book? The graduation. So you already know some of the stuff that has happened right there, that he's continued that. So something you're already familiar with has continued. What is continued here aside from Wesley and Buttercup's relationship? That's all we got. Why not some more? Also, it just occurred to me. Let's assume Wesley and Buttercup, and this actually would not make sense given the condition Wesley were in. Let's just say that Waverly was conceived the day the Princess Bride ends. That day. That means 9 months later. Why is Fezzik with them? Inigo is Fezzik's friend. If Inigo is going to leave somewhere, Fezzik would go with him. Wesley doesn't need him. Buttercup doesn't need him. Waverly needs Fezzik, but she's not alive yet, right? Well, not present yet. So why is he still there? Maybe that's the explanation we will get with Inigo, why he is left and without Fezzik. And for anyone being like, well, Fezzik would become friends with Wesley and Buttercup. Does he? Do we actually know that? Because we're not told that. That's an assumption. And part of the relationship between Fezzik and Inigo is the rhyming game. Could Wesley do that with him as well? Probably. But it's a thing that's Inigo and Fezzik's. Why would Fezzik give that up? Okay, I mean, he may have a love for Wesley, he may have a love for Buttercup, but Inigo is likely his best friend. Why is he not with Inigo? Now, as I said, Waverly being put in his charge, make him becoming her protector, that would be enough. I completely can't believe that. But even if the impossible of that, the day the Princess Bride ended, that's still 9 months that Inigo would have to stick around for Fezzik to be there. And that I don't think is reasonable, because Wesley's condition is like a few months before he'd be ready to fight. Okay, making love to Buttercup probably doesn't need that level of energy, but still, it's going to take a while for him to recover and reach that state. So that's even longer that Inigo would have to stick around. Inigo was also injured, sure, but he wasn't dead a day prior. So it's... I shouldn't be able to find all these issues. And not... as I said, this is only 4.5 pages. And it's also funny because the aside is even having like, saying, yeah, this isn't necessarily. Well, what do you think? It's exciting. I'll give Morgenstern that. I mean, it's like even Goldman isn't approving of, but it's like it's his book. He's the one who's writing this. It's like it's just shining a light on your own issue. In some ways, yes, that can provide some healing, but I'm sorry, you're shining a light on it by also blaming your imaginary source, author, Morgenstern. It's like, yeah, I'm not feeling this, and it's again. Don't then go to Inigo. Tell me what is up. Why is she named Waverly? Legitimately, why? That's actually that's potentially a very good story there. It's like, at the end of The Lord of the Rings, Sam and, I can't remember her name. The hobbitess he marries. There actually is a portion talking about what they named their eldest daughter. And it's specifically a flower. And as I recall, it's actually in part because of the flowers he saw in Lothlorien, I believe it was. So it's like, there is actually meaning to her name. And now, true, that's Tolkien. But it's like, that's because you do expect children to have names. That's a way to provide a bridge right here that keeps you with who is Waverly, introducing her better, but also getting us to Wesley and Buttercup, because that's their decision. It's like, there was such an opportunity here. And we're just... Hopefully the next part with Inigo is better. And how long is that going to be? About 13 pages, it looks like. Because then it's Buttercup and Wesley is the name of that part, and then Fezzik Falling is the final part. And by the way, looking at it, yeah, it is. This section is long enough. This chapter is long enough that I would want to break it up anyway. It's just this first one is quite short. But yeah, I really do not like what I've been given here in this first part, because it just... I'm trying to think of the best way to put it. It's... I get the whole trying to quickly hook people, but that doesn't necessarily mean you put a hook in the water and you make sure that the hook is nice and sharp, the barb is very good there, so it can't be pulled out. Make sure the bait is right. Alright, make sure the fly is right. Do things like that to make sure I actually want to be hooked. Don't just make it a great hook so it's like, oh, now I can't pull it out. It's like, but why am I even going to bite? I don't feel bitten here. I feel confused. Everybody has their own style. Everybody should keep to their style. And that, I technically hate how I said that. You can experiment with your style, yes. But, and go, definitely do that. So you can change your style with your style. But this, I don't think my complaints here, my criticisms here, are just based on stylistic choices. I do feel that this is actually not very good. Alright, well, I'm gonna stop now. I'm actually gonna get lunch, then I'll come back and read Inigo, see how that goes. Which, hey, on the bright side, with lunch I'll probably calm down, not be so primed to be negative. We'll see. See you then.